Dear sisters and brothers, at the outset, let me greet you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. The month of December has arrived. For the past 2 decades, the dawn of December used to haunt Indian Muslims with a sad memory of Babar-Masjid demolition on 6th December 1992. After 60 long years, Allahabad High Court pronounced its judgment on 30th September 2010 in civil title suits of Babar-Masjid. Aggrieved by its verdict, the parties concerned filed appeals in the Supreme Court, which in May 2011 admitted them all and stayed the operative clause of the High Court judgment. So the civil suits appeals are now pending in the highest court of the land. At this juncture, an individual in my personal capacity have come forward with this presentation in order to educate the people at large, more particularly Muslims community, as to the real nature and status of Babar-Masjid, since I believe they are not aware of the absolute truth any time before. What we were all asked to believe or made to believe is that sometime in 1528 AD, one of the generals of Babar built a masjid in Ayodhya and dedicated it for community cause in the name of his master. Ever since that day, the masjid was under the custody, management and usage of Muslim community. They were saying their prayers there uninterrupted until some miscreants placed Ram idol in the middle of the night between 23rd and 24th of December 1949. Because of that violent and unruly incident, Muslims were driven out of the place of worship and dispossessed of the custody and management of the same. Muslims ceased to pray in the masjid only from that day onwards on account of forcible evacuation. Later on, civil suits were filed for the recovery and possession of the masjid. This much only the Muslim community knows about the story of the Babar-Masjid until now. But I challenge that this is not complete truth. This is only half truth. Half a truth is always more dangerous than untruth, since half a truth is like jumping a well half a distance. The truth is that more than 50% of Babar-Masjid has already gone under the occupation and custody of Hindus at least sometime before 1885 itself. This was not told to the masses by so-called leaders who are actively involved in Babar-Masjid litigations. Nor the enlightened public knew about the real position and condition of the Babar-Masjid at that time. I myself did not know the fact until I saw a map of Babar-Masjid published in the Times of India on 1st October 2010 along with the news of Allahabad High Court judgment. When I saw the map, I was shocked. The map showed A small portion in the building in the west, below the domes as masjid. All around three sides, including the front of the building, were shown as under the custody and occupation of Hindus. The paper claimed that the map was as old as 1885 AD and that it was the only map filed as an exhibit in all civil suits of Babar-Masjid. There was no other alternative map to challenge it. On seeing the map, I understood the real nature and status of Babar-Masjid even in the year 1885. That is 125 years back. If the map was prepared in that year, it is obvious that the state of the masjid several years before also would have been the same. In frustration and agony, I took the map and showed it to many literates, both Muslims and non-Muslims. I showed it to community leaders and organizations chiefs. They all expressed shock and dismay. They confessed their innocence or ignorance. But people in active politics refused to take note of my claim and argument. They rejected it outright. Some sympathized with me for not knowing politics. Leftists kept mum and maintained silence as a good policy. This only made me to come before you and warn people from being misled by the interested groups and parties which thrive upon the sensational issues like this one. That is the reason why the local Muslim population in Ayodhya do not support the agitation or demonstration of Babar-Masjid. Rather, they are fed up with outsiders taking the issue into their hands and thereby creating miserable life for them now and then. After all, it was a local issue between the two communities. It should have been solved either by consensus or by adopting legal courses in the court. But the politicians on either side intervened and twisted the matter to their advantage. They made a mountain out of mole. In the portion under the occupation of Hindus was Ram Chabudra, where Ram idol was placed and worshipped at least from 1885 AD. There were no legal disputes over it at that time. There were also some sacred places of Hindus in that area called Chopper, Sita kitchen. There was no separate entrance to the masjid. There was only one entrance centrally on the eastern side of the building, which directly led to the corridor occupied by Hindus. We had to pass through that area if we wanted to go to the masjid for prayer. Here I just want to focus your attention to the fact that whenever we want to see the masjid